In the heart of Africa, where the sun scorches the land, lies a world shared by two giants. The hippopotamus, seemingly gentle, yet deadlier to humans than lions, and the Nile crocodile, a perfect heir to the ancient hunters of the dinosaur age. When the dry season arrives and the waters vanish, the battle lines emerge. There is no room for mercy. Every pool becomes a fortress, every stair a challenge. This is not just a story of strength, but of instinct, patience, and the razor-thin line of survival. Join us as we uncover their world. The rainy season has ended. The great storms that once swelled the rivers are now only memories. The once roaring current has retreated, leaving thin, winding ribbons of water twisting through a cracked, barren riverbed. The scent of dry mud and rotting fish fills the stifling air. The sun hangs high all day, scorching the plains below. The last clouds have vanished, leaving a sky stripped bare, pale, harsh, and endless. Trees along the banks fade to yellow, their fallen leaves turning to dust on the dry ground. Shallow pools shimmer like shards of broken mirrors, reflecting the cruel heat of the African sun. Here, the dry season is not a shift in weather, it's a test of endurance, a battle for life itself. The herds of wildebeest, zebras, and elephants move on in silence. They stretch into endless lines, leaving trails of footprints across the cracked earth, coated in red dust. Step by step, they press forward, toward the distant watering holes, where the last traces of hope still glimmer in this scorched land. In contrast to those nimble wanderers, the crocodiles and hippos have no such choice. They cannot, and will not, abandon the river that has sustained them through the wet season. While others journey in search of new waters, these giants remain, clinging to the shrinking riverbed, where life and death are separated by only the thinnest line. As the dry season tightens its grip, the river shrinks into a chain of shallow, muddy pools scattered across the cracked bed. And that is when the hippos begin to gather. They converge on the deepest hollows that still hold water, just enough to cover half their massive bodies. Here, dozens, sometimes hundreds, pack together in the thick, murky mud. That mud is more than comfort. It's their lifeline, cooling their bodies and shielding their delicate skin from the burning sun, for hippos have no sweat glands. To withstand the searing heat, hippos spend nearly the entire day submerged, surfacing only to breathe or spray water across their bodies to cool down. Their skin secretes a thin, pinkish fluid, often called blood sweat, which acts as both an antibacterial shield and a natural sunscreen. It's this remarkable adaptation that allows them to endure the blistering tropical sun without their skin burning. On the opposite bank, the crocodiles follow a completely different survival strategy. When the waters recede, instead of crowding together in the mud like the hippos, they quietly vanish from sight. The Nile crocodiles dig deep into the riverbanks, carving out small burrows beneath the cracked soil. Inside, the air is cool and damp, just enough to help them endure the scorching fury of the dry season. In fact, the Nile crocodile is the largest known predator capable of constructing such remarkable underground refuges. In contrast to the crocodiles, life for the hippos grows increasingly difficult. As the water keeps receding, tension within the herd begins to rise. The shrinking space forces the massive males to lie pressed against one another, their huge bodies packed so tightly there's barely room left to move. Hippos are creatures of order, but in this cramped, sweltering world, conflict is inevitable. The two male hippos finally explode into battle. Days of bottled-up rage burst into fury. They hurl themselves at each other, colliding like living stones. Their long tusks pierce deep into the thick flesh of their opponent. Heavy, thunderous bellows roll across the land. The fight doesn't last long, but it leaves deep wounds and a heavy silence over the drying river. The defeated one drifts away, searching for another pool to call home. Here, strength is not just a means to dominate. It is the only way to survive. For the dry season is far from over. In contrast to the males, the female hippos spend most of their time protecting their young. As the water continues to disappear, they keep their distance from the males' territories, gathering instead around calmer, quieter pools. As food and water grow scarce, predators like crocodiles, and even lions, prowl around the few remaining pools. Just a single moment of carelessness from the mother, and her calf could become the next target. The crocodiles begin to move slowly along the water's edge. They circle, closing in on a lone mother and her calf. After weeks of hunger and drought, their craving for fresh meat has become unbearable. Every movement is deliberate, measured, their eyes locked on the fragile calf swimming close beside its mother. The crocodiles start closing in along the water's edge. Their eyes follow every move of the mother and her calf. They don't hurry. They don't make a sound. Just a few meters between them. That's all they need to strike. The crocodiles begin to surge forward, pressing in as they try to encircle the mother and her calf. They shift slowly into a tightening ring, closing off every escape route, inch by inch. The mother hippo turns constantly, trying to keep her calf shielded at her side. But in the shallow water, maneuvering is difficult. Every direction she faces, a crocodile blocks the way. The calf clings tightly to her flank, lifting its head only to breathe. It is far too young to understand the crocodile's hunting tactics, but instinct tells it that danger is close, just a few body lengths away from its mother, and the crocodiles would seize the opening instantly. In a single moment of chaos, the calf slips out from its mother's protection. A crocodile lunges, clamps down, and drags it beneath the water, pulling it away in an instant as the helpless mother watches. The water quickly falls silent again. Only a few muddy ripples spread, then fade into the current. In Africa's river ecosystems, scenes like this unfold often during the dry season. For the crocodiles, it is a chance to regain strength for the harsh days ahead. For the hippos, losing a calf is not uncommon at this time of year. Nature does not intervene. It simply maintains the balance of the ecosystem, and each species must continue to adapt in order to survive the relentless cycle of drought and rain. I used to think the lion was a silent hunter. But then I saw a male standing in the grasslands, lifting his head and roaring into the sunset. With a single roar, the wild grasslands fell silent. It was not a call to the pride. It was a declaration of power. The first time I saw a pride of lions hunting in the Masai Mara, I understood why these big cats don't need to be faster than cheetahs or stronger than hippos to rule the wild. Lions are the only social hunters in the cat family, living in well-organized prides. A pride may include 3 to 12 lionesses, cubs, and up to 2 adult males. But the surprising truth is this: it's the lionesses who lead the hunt. They are the driving force behind every chase. Lions do not hunt alone. They move like a well-trained army. I once watched a group of lions form a hunting formation. Some circled wide to drive the prey into a trap. Others waited silently near the only escape route. A lion's bite force is only around 650 pounds per square inch, much lower than that of a crocodile. But here's the thing: they don't need to crush to kill. All they need is one bite to the throat at the right moment in the right place. For an antelope, it ends in seconds. In that moment, I wondered, if you were the prey, would you have enough time to realize your mistake? Or would the last thing you feel be nothing more than a heavy breath suddenly cut short? But you know what surprised me the most? The male lion, that symbol of power, barely takes part in daily hunts. While the lionesses move in silence, stalking every step together, the males often remain on the sidelines watching. But they have to defend their territory from outside challengers. Any unfamiliar male that steps into their land is seen as a threat. Fights for dominance may last only minutes, but the consequences can last a lifetime. Some are badly wounded, lose their teeth, even break a leg, and they will never rule a territory again. Have you ever thought about that? That some creatures aren't born to hunt, but to keep the peace through violence? That the right to mate in nature doesn't come from romance, but from surviving a deadly fight? If you've ever seen a lion on a screen and thought you understood it, try standing still in silence in the middle of the grasslands and hear that roar for the first time. Trust me, you'll never look at it the same way again. If the lion earned my respect for its coordination, then the next predator earned my fear for its silent speed, a creature you might never see until it's already too late. So if speed is what decides life or death, is the lion still worthy of being king? Is a roar truly more terrifying than a strike that vanishes in just 2 seconds? And that is the cheetah. Coming up next, I'll tell you about a predator that isn't the king, but is the nightmare of every savanna. Most people know that the cheetah is the fastest animal on Earth, but I once saw something that changed the way I see it forever. During a chase in the Serengeti, the antelope had barely touched the ground after its first leap, when the cheetah was already closing in. In less than 3 seconds, it changed direction 3 times, weaving past bumps and bushes, then struck with perfect precision right on the prey's back. You know what the scariest part is? It's not the speed. It's that you never even know you're being hunted. The cheetah can reach speeds of up to 112 kilometers per hour, but only for 20 to 30 seconds, because its body can't handle heat for long. During a sprint, its heart rate can soar past 250 beats per minute, and if it runs just a few seconds more, it could burn itself from the inside out. But that speed comes at a price. After every chase, the cheetah often stops gasping for breath, sometimes lying down just to cool off. Its body is built light, and its heart feels like it's on fire after every sprint. Unlike lions, cheetahs have no pride, no teammates. They don't go for the throat like lions, and they don't drag prey underwater like crocodiles. They strike with precision, then wait as the prey slowly runs out of strength. But what always breaks my heart is that even after a successful hunt, the cheetah has to look around immediately, because danger is never far. Hyenas, lions, even eagles could steal its kill at any moment. I believe that among Africa's 4 fiercest predators, the cheetah is the saddest of them all. It lacks neither skill nor intelligence, but it doesn't have the strength to protect the very victory it fought so hard to earn. If the cheetah is the terror of the land, then beneath the water, things get even more brutal. Have you ever wondered why a creature that barely moves can make an entire herd of antelope tremble? Or how a herbivore can kill a crocodile with a single bite? I once heard a photographer say, Shooting a cheetah requires speed. Shooting a crocodile requires silence, because crocodiles don't attack with speed. They strike with patience, the kind of patience that borders on madness. Crocodiles don't chase. They don't pursue like lions. They don't need speed. They don't need chaos. They just lie there, completely still, silent beneath the murky water. I once rewatched a slow-motion clip of an antelope stepping down to the river's edge. It hesitated, looked around, then lowered its head to drink. In that moment that felt safe, the water exploded, and then there was nothing but ripples fading out as if nothing had ever happened. Have you ever heard of the crocodile's famous spin? They call it the death roll. After the first bite, a crocodile doesn't chew like a lion. It spins its entire body with terrifying force, ripping its prey apart, piece by piece. If you've ever seen an antelope's leg twisting high out of the water, that wasn't by accident. That was a killing technique perfected over millions of years. I don't fear the crocodile because of its teeth. I fear it because it doesn't need to roar to kill. It doesn't need to look dangerous to be deadly. In the natural world, power doesn't always come from noise. Sometimes it lives in the silence that stretches so long it chokes you. And the crocodile is a master of that silence. Remember 3 things. The crocodile wins through perfect patience, flawless timing, and a death roll no other creature can imitate. If you've been amazed by the cheetah's speed or the lion's roar, don't forget the terror that hides beneath the still, muddy water. What can we learn from them? Maybe it's the power of choosing the right moment to act instead of wasting energy and noise. Maybe it's the strength of staying calm when everything around you is in motion. Then you've forgotten a creature that doesn't hunt, doesn't eat meat, just grazes on grass. And yet it kills more people than lions and crocodiles combined. Sounds absurd, doesn't it? According to WHO and wildlife researchers, the numbers don't lie. Hippos cause over 500 human deaths every year in Africa. Crocodiles, around 300 lions, just about 200. That means one thing. This plant-eating giant is more dangerous than both apex predators combined. It doesn't stalk, it doesn't roar, but when it charges, it doesn't stop. The hippopotamus is not a predator, but if you trespass on its territory, there's nowhere to hide. This is one of the most aggressive and unpredictable creatures in the natural world. An adult hippo can weigh up to 1,800 kilograms. That's nearly the size of a car. On land, it can run at 30 kilometers per hour, faster than a human. And though it only eats grass, its jaws can open up to 150 degrees, strong enough to crush a crocodile's bones. You might be imagining it all wrong. It's not a lazy, sluggish creature. It's an emotional tank, ready to destroy anything that dares to cross its territory. Hippos are not just aggressive. They are incredibly territorial. To them, a waterhole is home. Anyone who dares to cross it, even another hippo, might be attacked without warning. In the dry season, when water runs low and space runs out, battles between male hippos can last for hours, with blood, with roars, and with brutal bites straight to the head. I used to think only predators were dangerous, but standing near a full-grown hippo in a rage, I realized something terrifying. Sometimes, the real horror of nature comes from the ones that eat grass. What surprised me the most was not how dangerous hippos are, but how quietly powerful they can be. Believe it or not, hippo dung, yes, really is a key source of nutrients for life in the river. It feeds microbes, which feed fish, and even top predators like crocodiles benefit from it, indirectly. Have you noticed? Every animal in this video, from the cheetah to the crocodile to the hippo, has its own way of fighting for survival. These aren't just breathtaking scenes. They're lessons in survival, lessons in purposeful silence, in controlled speed, and in raw power that doesn't need to be loud. If you're looking for inspiration, to be more patient, more resilient, or to simply take a step back and observe before you act, nature has just taught us everything. So what do you think about what's really happening here? Are you the daring cheetah, the patient crocodile, or the unapologetic hippo? Leave a comment below. I'd love to hear your answer.
More than 5 million years ago, in the frozen fields of the north, a giant with thick fur and twisted tusks began its journey to domination. The mammoth, from the frozen fields at the end of the world, where the mammoth, a symbol of strength and time, once ruled the earth, to the scorched grasslands of Africa today, a bloodline continues to flow. The last descendant of the mammoth inherits not only its great stature, but also its centuries-old memory, human emotions, and a protective instinct that can tear apart the desert if threatened. This is not just a story about animals. This is the truth about a world where kindness and cruelty coexist in the form of a silent giant.